Parks and Recreation. Some of the meetings, speaking engagements, events that have been going on since our last update, I'll just quickly run through those. Of course, we had the Under-19 World Lacrosse Tournament here at Six Nations on September 11th, 12th, and 13th, and congratulations to the Iroquois West, which were mainly made up of Six Nations guys, for winning the silver. I understand that there's an interest to have this World Tournament again next year, so we'll wait to see what the coordinators say. I was also happy to attend the first day of the opening day of the Mohawk language classes, and they're celebrating their 17th year. So congratulations to them. Congratulations also to Oliver M. Smith School, which celebrated 20 years since that school was built. Councillor Carl Hill and I attended their celebratory event on September 17th. Also, at September 18th, we had an age-friendly event that was held at Tourism. That is combined, this is a project that was started by Dave Levesque, the MPP in Brant. It includes a number of our seniors and elders and staff who are coming together to look at how to make events more age-friendly for our seniors, such as transportation, accessibility, admission. They're doing all kinds of good things like that and having that discussion. And they did have a meeting here at Six Nations to get some input. Once they completed that, then they will be making a report to the province. On September 18th, we had the National Board of the YMCA visit Six Nations, and it was a lot of influential people from across the country. And they wanted to see the Beyond the Bell program that is being run out of I.L. Thomas School. So I met there with them along with the principal, Reva Bomberry, and the staff. On the 20th of September, I had the opportunity to speak to representatives from all the conservation authorities throughout the province. They gathered in Brantford at the Best Western for their biennial tour, and I think they spent the next 2 days traveling up and down the Haldeman Tract. So that was a good event to speak to. And on September 23rd, we also had the Family Councils Conference here at Six Nations. And the Family Council is made up of representatives of family members of residents in places like the Iroquois Lodge and other nursing homes that are spread throughout the southwestern region. Well, they all came to Six Nations to have a conference here, and I want to thank Claudine Venevri Albert for taking the lead in organizing that. On the 23rd of September, we also had the Director General of Community Infrastructure from Indian Affairs in Ottawa who visited our community. We had some talk with him about our concerns about the infrastructure dollars that are being cut, and we also gave him a tour of some of the schools and the water treatment plant. I also later that day traveled to Toronto with Connie Jameson, our tourism manager, and we met with the Minister of Tourism, Sport and Culture, Michael Couteau, to talk about tourism at Six Nations, to talk about how we want to refurbish Chiefswood Park, and also to talk about the two-row on the Grand, which is going to be a canoe trip that tourism is working on for the summer of 2016. We will also be doing a debriefing with him on the Pan Am Games as soon as we can get it arranged. And on the 24th, I traveled to Paris, Ontario, along with our SAO Dale Bomberry and Matt Jameson, our Six Nations Development Corporation president, to meet with Brant County and to find out about some areas that they want to explore with respect to economic development. And on the 26th of September, I want to congratulate Ganukusha for having their annual community walk to prevent violence. It was very well attended, and Councillor Bob Johnson also attended. And on the 27th of September, we were very fortunate to have Lieutenant Governor Elizabeth Dowdeswell here in our community. She was taking part in the 230th anniversary celebrations up at the Mohawk Chapel. So we were quite pleased to have her here, and since she was coming to the community, I extended the invitation to take her on a tour of the former residential school, or the Mohawk Institute. So she came in, and I want to thank Amos Key and Laurie Gallant for giving her that tour. And it was quite very emotional for her, and I think it had a profound effect on her. On the 28th, I took part in a conference call with the other PTOs, chiefs, and political confederacy with the Chiefs of Ontario. We also have the North American Indigenous Games gearing up. They're going to be held in Toronto and at Six Nations in 2017. And Six Nations has established our own NAIG working group, and that's being led by Councillor Ray Miracle. And he had a brief meeting on the 29th, and there'll be more meetings coming up. We also have a small committee of council, which includes myself, Bob Johnson, Terry General, and Carl Hill, along with staff like Lonnie Bomberry and Phil Montour. And we get together regularly with Mayor Friel and some of his city councillors and staff to discuss a number of concerns or issues we may have with them, and to look at ways that we can help resolve them. So we had a meeting with them on the 29th, and we've tasked our technicians to go back to the drawing board and start working on how we can resolve some issues. The family health team also held a strategic session at Niagara-on-the-Lake on September 30th, and I was able to be there for one day along with Councillor Sherry Lynn Hill-Pierce, Melba Thomas, Terry General, and Hazel Johnson. On October 1st, I was invited to attend Mayor Chris Field's lunch in Brantford at the Golf and Country Club and listen to a speech by Honourable Glenn Murray, who's the Minister of Environment and Climate Change. And later that evening, Amy Lickers and I attended the Canadian Aboriginal and Minority Supplier Council Business Awards in Toronto. We thought it important to attend that to find out how Six Nations can benefit from that. So we did do some networking, and we've invited the president of that council to come and visit us here at Six Nations. And on October 2nd, Friday, it was an exciting day for us as we had the ribbon cutting ceremony for the solar park project at the Oneida Business Park. There were several councillors in attendance, along with the MPP Dave Levac, Phil McColman, and Mayor Ron Eddy. The Deputy Minister of the Ministry of Aboriginal Affairs, Deborah Richardson, also attended that session and then stayed later in the afternoon to have a meeting with me and some of the staff. And on last Saturday, I had the opportunity to speak to about 50 women who are members of the Federation of Canadian Universities. They were visiting our community as well. They visited the Woodland Cultural Centre in Chiefswood, and I went over and spoke to them briefly. And on Sunday, I attended the opening of the Shelley Nero's exhibit at Glenhurst Gardens Gallery. It's an excellent exhibit, and it's going to be there until November the 8th, and I encourage everyone to get up and see it and to support Shelley in her work. And on Sunday, this past Sunday, October 4th, we, along with many others across the country, held our own Sisters in Spirit Vigil to remember all those murdered and missing Indigenous women. And we are reframing, as you know, ours to say, embrace her with love. And Councillor Sherry Lynn Hill-Pierce and Carl Hill also attended. And we were glad to have a march over there and a potluck, and to support some of our families here in the community who are going through that tragedy. On Monday, this past Monday, I had the Minister of Children and Youth Services visit our community, Minister Tracy McCharles. We took her on a tour, and she visited the Youth Lodge and Social Services and Ganokosha, and she met with our Embrace Her with Love families. She was quite moved by the whole trip and really enjoyed herself. And right now, which started yesterday, or October 6th, 7th, and 8th, there is a National Land Claims Researcher Conference going on here at Six Nations, at Six Nations Polytech. That was organized by the Lands and Resources Department, Lonnie Bomberry and his staff. And so we're doing a lot of, we get a lot of visitors here in our community and a lot of national conferences. And on Thursday, October the 8th, the Elders Network will be holding Thanksgiving lunch for the elders, so elders will enjoy that. Some of the